Hey there and welcome to SI Now. I'm Ryan Aselta, and it's a Friday where 32 football players are waking up with a smile on their face after hearing their names called last night in the first round of the NFL draft. So let's get right to the draft and pick apart the first round and look ahead to tonight's second and third round. Sports Illustrated's Emily Kaplan joins us, and Emily, did not take long to get some fireworks in the first round last night. The Niners, they trade the second overall pick to the Bears, who draft quarterback Mitchell Trubisky. Now, you were with the Bears camp last night. Explain the move from Chicago's perspective. Why give so much up to move up just one spot to grab Trubisky?
First, I just want to tell all fans in Chicago it's going to be okay. It's literally doomsday here. I'm in Chicago. But look, I think listening to GM Ryan Pace rationalize it makes sense. He said, we had conviction about a quarterback, and so we went for it. We could go and be average. We could go and, if you get Jamal Adams or Reuben Foster or Jonathan Allen, the defense would be better next year, but I don't know if the team would be great if you don't have a quarterback. So why be average when you can take the chance to be great? Look, did he overpay? Probably. Did he get bamboozled? Maybe. But look, if you have conviction and you go for it, how can you fault that?
Pace did say that he was worried about getting jumped for that pick. Was that the fear justified from what you were hearing?
I think Ryan Pace is a very calculated GM. I think every step he has taken so far with the Bears has been really slow and deliberate. So he seemed to have sense that teams like perhaps the Chiefs, and that's one that I do believe called up the 49ers for that number 2 pick, were coming on strong. And whether it was a front or not, I will say this, those teams did end up taking a quarterback eventually. So their interest was there.
The Bears committed 3 years and $43 million on quarterback Mike Glennon this offseason. The team said last night, though, that Glennon is the starter. Pace said this, quote, "There's no quarterback competition when Mitch gets here. Glennon is our starting quarterback. We'll focus on Mitch's development and Mike Glennon winning games for the Chicago Bears." You hear that, Emily? What is the immediate plan for Trubisky?
It's for him to sit. There's no intention for him to start week 1, week 2, week 3, maybe even the entire season. And what I think is so interesting is Ryan Pace was asked, what quarterback situation in the league maybe are you modeling yourself after? Which one do you like? And he brought up Green Bay, and he said, look, that's the one across the division where everyone says, Aaron Rodgers waited a year or two behind Brett Favre. He waited 3 years, and look what happened. It turned out pretty great. So in an ideal situation, Mitch Trubisky becomes Aaron Rodgers. So I think there's no rush whatsoever for this kid to get on the field.
Yeah, ideal with Favre teaching Aaron Rodgers. A little different, I guess, Glennon and Trubisky. All right,
Exactly.
2 other teams gave up a ton to move up and grab quarterbacks. Kansas City trades up for Pat Mahomes, and Texans trade up for Deshaun Watson. Which QB should feel best about where they landed in the draft?
Oh, it's so tough to tell. I do know that Patrick Mahomes is super pumped to be with the Kansas City Chiefs. I was texting a little bit with people in his camp last night, and it could not be a better situation for them. Yes, the Chiefs did give up a lot to get him, but it is just, Andy Reid loves a big arm. This kid has the best arm. He does not have to start right away. His footwork and mechanics are all out of whack. Let him sit behind Alex Smith and see what you have for 2018 or 2019. So I love this situation, but I also love what Deshaun Watson walks into, where, he might not be ready to start right away as he makes that transition from a spread quarterback who ran a lot. He doesn't have to play because they do like Tom Savage, as they've reminded us again and again. So both of them are very lucky.
Yeah, Bill O'Brien and the Texans all in on Deshaun Watson. How about the wide receiver position? We had a run of wideouts go in the first round as 3 go in the top 10. Who's going to make the biggest immediate impact from that wideout position?
I think Corey Davis in Tennessee, he is unbelievable personality, just so humble, good as they come. And I think he's going to mesh so well with Marcus Mariota. And I just love everything the Titans did in this draft. I know they wanted to trade out of that spot. Maybe 5 was a little high to go get Corey Davis, but they're 2 biggest areas of needs were targets for Marcus Mariota to throw to and players in the secondary. Logan Ryan is their only proven corner as they got rid of Jason McCourty. So I love what they did in this draft, and I'm so excited to see what Corey Davis does with Marcus Mariota next year.
All right, Emily, 32 picks in. So far, where's the biggest steal? Where did that come from in the draft?
Could be Malik Hooker going to the Colts. He's probably a top 5 player. People are talking about him as the next Ed Reed. So that's a steal at the position they got him at.
Okay. And what about the Browns? We haven't went this long without talking about the team that held that number 1 pick, of course. They take Myles Garrett at number 1. They trade down for Dule Peppers and trade back into the first round for tight end David Njoku. They also land Houston's first-round pick in 2018. How do you grade a very busy night for the Cleveland Browns?
I can't grade it. It's incomplete. Look, I think that part of me is inclined to say this is terrible. You just can't keep stockpiling picks. You need to go and get a quarterback eventually and win for today. At the same time, they got some really excellent players that they can build around. I mean, a defense that has Myles Garrett as the premier pass rusher, Dule Peppers, whatever Greg Williams decides to use him, and David Njoku. I mean, that's a nice young core to build around. Maybe they won't even be terrible to watch next year. Maybe they could be entertaining, but I just can't give them a grade or anything yet because who knows? I mean, they could get a quarterback still in day 2. There's a couple guys still available.
All right, so we talked about the Browns, the Niners, the Bears, sports. Emily, of course, about winners and losers. Who's the team that won the draft last night?
I mean, is it anyone but John Lynch? Is there another answer? The guy killed it. He got 2 players that he was considering taking at number 2, not at number 2, and stockpiled more draft picks. It was like the best rookie GM I think I've ever seen. Performance.
All right, I know your work is just getting started. Let's look ahead to round 2 gets underway tonight. What can we expect round 2 and 3 Friday night and then into the weekend here?
Like I said, there's still quarterbacks available. Deshaun Kaiser's still on the board, and I expect him to go fairly high in round 2. Also, Nathan Peterman and Davis Webb are other names to look out for. I think a team like the Cardinals or maybe the Chargers, who wanted to get a developmental quarterback, could still get their guy. But the running backs are the big names still on the board. Obviously, Dalvin Cook kind of quietly actually slipped out of the first round. I think there was so much wild activity going on other places. So he should go somewhere, probably in that early round 2 range. And Joe Mixon, and the 2 teams that I think might take a chance on him, and I think he's going second round, would be the Bengals or the Packers.
All right, Emily, get that coffee brewing. The late night's just starting for you this weekend. Round 2 gets underway tonight. Emily Kaplan, thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks, Ryan.
All right, well, over in the NBA, 2 teams punched their tickets to the conference semifinals last night as both the Raptors and Spurs go on the road and they close out their respective series. Our SI NBA analyst Jordan Solch joins us now. And Jordan, Toronto finishes off Milwaukee, but the Bucks showed a lot in this series. When you look at these 2 teams, I guess, after this season, did the Bucks actually show a little more promise going forward than the Raptors, even though the Raptors are moving on?
Absolutely. Long-term picture, let's think about what Milwaukee has. Okay, you got Giannis. That's your centerpiece. You got Jabari Parker coming back from the ACL. He's going to be fine. That's your number 2. Then you can build around Chris Middleton on the perimeter making threes. I think with Milwaukee, long-term, there's so much to love here. They're young. They're talented. I think Jason Kidd is an emerging coach. They run good stuff. They defend. They're just really young, and this is what young teams do in the playoffs. And I think when you look at the ability to come back from 25 points down in an elimination game in front of a home crowd, they took the lead 80-78. I really thought, this is it. They're going to come back, and we're going to go to Game 7. Didn't quite get it done. I think they were gassed. I think Giannis was really tired. You saw his hands on his hips. But when it comes down to it, Milwaukee, from a long-term perspective, compared to Toronto, I think is really exciting.
Yeah, we may look back as this is the game where this young group matured a little bit. Even in a loss, may play a role down the road. Let's talk about the Raptors. Moving on to face LeBron and the Cavs. Cleveland won 3 of 4 this year, but very tight games. Games separated by an average of 4 points, even though LeBron didn't play in the last game. Does Toronto have any chance of giving the Cavs a scare?
Last year, when they took them to 7, I thought they had a real shot going into that series. I don't think they have the same shot this year, despite the fact that Cleveland's vulnerable, not a very good defensive team. Almost 40% of their offense comes from threes, which I don't love. I think when you look at what Toronto can do to bother Cleveland, realistically, what are they going to do? It's DeRozan. Can he get into LeBron a little bit? Can he tire him out a little bit on both sides of the floor? Sure. The point guard, Lowry and Irving, that's a really good matchup. But I don't know if Toronto really has a lot of options to guard Channing Frye, to go out and guard Kevin Love on the perimeter, the stretch ability of Cleveland. So that's when that 3 will come in and help the Cavs. I think Toronto can win a game, but when it comes down to it, I just don't think they have enough offense to deal with Cleveland, who really just is outscoring people right now.
Yeah, LeBron in those 3 games, 27, 8, and 9 he averaged during the regular season. All right, out west, Spurs eliminate the Grizzlies, where it was turn back the clock night for Tony Parker, who grabs our adrenaline performance presented by Toyota. Let's go places. Parker goes for 27 points on 11 of 14 shooting. Now, Jordan, Parker helps the Spurs move on. Let's start with Memphis, though. When you look at the Grizzlies, they are out early again here. What kind of future does this team have when you look at this roster the way it's constructed right now?
You don't want to talk TP first? No, I got you. We'll get to TP. Memphis is really just, it's such a good story. That grit and grind. They don't play sexy basketball. What do you really want from this team moving forward? You would love to see them not break it up, but I don't see any way that they can re-sign Zach Randolph, who's going to be a free agent, made $10 million this year. The same goes with Vince Carter. So if you want to continue playing this style of basketball, which I think they will under David Fizdale, who's a wonderful young coach, build around Conley, build around Gasol. They're both signed long-term. Go out and get another wing. They got Wade Baldwin last year from Vanderbilt, didn't play a lot this year as a rookie, some maturity issues there. They got to get another wing scorer. They got to get more athletic. But this style, I think you're seeing, this grit and grind, you can bother teams with this style. I mean, San Antonio is as good as anybody, and they almost went to a Game 7. And that says a lot about Memphis, because on paper, San Antonio should win this series in 4 or 5. But the Grizzlies stuck with it. They defended. They just need to get a little more athletic and more talented. But they're right there.
Interesting. The grit and grind, opposite of what the Warriors and kind of the model that they've built, but not a lot of flexibility. 70% of their cap is already committed to Conley, Gasol, and Parsons next year. So the hands are a little bit tied, right?
There's not really much they can do. That's why I think about the draft. I don't know, from a free agent perspective, they can go out and get a veteran, but they just need to get younger and more athletic. That's what it comes down to, because they have some nice core pieces there. Gasol and Conley are terrific players, and Fizdale's a really good coach. But the personnel, that's when you saw the difference against San Antonio. They just didn't have the speed, the dynamic ability athletically to match Leonard and Green, and I thought that was the difference.
All right, we mentioned Tony Parker. Kawhi Leonard had a big night, sets up the Texas showdown with the Rockets, Spurs and Rockets. San Antonio took 3 of 4, another tight season series, though. Those games were separated by 3 points, 3 games separated by 2 points.
Yes.
2 teams evenly matched. Who has the edge in this series?
Well, I'm going to pick San Antonio, and I don't think it's as close as you might think. Houston has improved, Ryan, defensively. There's no question about it. They've gone from the bottom of the league to the middle of the league under Mike D'Antoni, so give them credit there. But my biggest thing is, okay, if you're Houston, how realistically are you going to win this series? Harden has to be great, okay? So now you're going to put Danny Green to start on Harden. My thing is, I feel like he can wear him down a little bit, just enough, so that when the game is really going to line, you put Kawhi Leonard on him, and then he's gassed. So, because Houston, they have some nice pieces around him, but they don't have enough, I believe, to go up against San Antonio, because when it comes down to it, I think Aldridge will play better. I think Parker's going to be good enough against Houston, and I think Leonard's going to kill them because they don't have anybody to guard him. So I like the Rockets. They're a nice story, but that reliance on the 3, they're going to take 30 a game. They're going to run a ton of pick and roll. San Antonio, under Greg Popovich, has always been excellent guarding the 3. This year, no exception. I like the Spurs in 5.
Some exciting series on the horizon. 2 yet to be decided. Jazz, Clippers, Hawks, Wizards. Still, we got a winner of those series coming up this weekend. Thanks, Jordan.
Thanks, Ryan.
It's time for SI Now's Weekend Drive, presented by Toyota. Let's go places. First up, the NBA playoffs. We head to Atlanta for Game 6 between the Hawks and Wizards, where the Hawks are on the brink of elimination. No road team has won in this series thus far, and Wizards point guard John Wall is well aware Atlanta won't go down easily.
Well, we're going to see a team that is going to play all out, give everything they got. So far, it's the best. There's 3 games left, the best of 2. I mean, and nobody has took over the series because nobody won on the opposing team's court yet.
The Wizards will need to stay out of foul trouble to help secure a win. Washington starters have averaged fewer than 20 minutes per game due to foul trouble. Next, we'll catch up playoff hockey. The 2 best teams in the league, the Capitals and Penguins, are squaring off in Game 2. Sidney Crosby scored 2 quick goals in Game 1, which is a mistake Capitals left wing Alex Ovechkin doesn't want to let happen again.
We can play like that against this team. The experienced team, they have lots of talent, they're skilled, and every mistake, they're going to use it. So you can see when we play simple, when we play our way, it's sort of different game.
Should be a very interesting series. The 2 teams split the regular season series 2 games apiece. Lastly, we head to the Northwest. If you're looking for excitement, look no further than Toyota's Hotel Tacoma on the Oregon coast, where extreme athletes, adventurers, and influencers come together for a 4-day non-traditional networking event.
A lot of you guys are athletes, influencers, adventurers, dogs, and you're gonna really embody Toyota's message, play now. And that's why we're here. This is our playground, and we're gonna play and party hard all weekend long. 3, 2, 1, go!
Looks like it's going to be a wild 4 days out in Oregon. And that's what's in store for this weekend. And you heard it right there. Let's now head live to the Oregon coast, where Olympic snowboarders Louis Vito and Alana Height are spending the weekend with other extreme athletes at Hotel Tacoma. We go there courtesy of Toyota. Let's go places. And guys, first off, for those of us that aren't familiar, what is Hotel Tacoma?
Well, Hotel Tacoma is basically a weekend that Toyota has put on to celebrate the idea of play and play now. So everyone's just out here having fun, taking advantage of the outdoors, and we've got so many activities.
I mean, it's just pretty much everything that Toyota and the whole Tacoma lifestyle embodies, you know, adventure and just being outside, doing activities with your friends, and really not only pushing what the trucks can do, but what you can do, and having a good time.
Yeah, we saw the quote, a weekend of epic play. We heard someone in the video there saying there's going to be a lot of partying going on. Does this sound as much fun? Is it as much fun as it sounds to us for you guys?
I don't think you can even put into words how much fun we have. I mean, this is the second one we've done, and you know if we're doing it another year, it's going to be bigger and better than it was last year. So we're just kind of getting ready to get started, but I know we're going paragliding. There's like water activities, fly fishing, fishing out on the boat.
ATVs, motocross,
off-roading the trucks. I mean, we're like in the ultimate playground where you can do a little bit of everything, and we plan on doing a little bit of everything.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty great weekend.
Very cool. All right, individually, guys, both of you had a lot going on here. Elena, you're a two-time Olympian, and in January, you won your first X Games gold medal. Tell me about that moment. How big of that was that moment for you?
Yeah, it was definitely a huge moment in my career, something that I've always wanted to do, and to bring home the gold from X Games was a dream come true.
And Louis, how about you? You were back on the podium recently, medaling at the Toyota U.S. Grand Prix. Now, you were part of the 2010 U.S. Olympic team. You missed out on Sochi in 2014. Tell me about the goals getting back to next year's Olympics. Is that tops on the list right now?
Yeah, right now it's just kind of getting ready. Our qualifiers start in December, and it was definitely not my highest point going into Sochi, but I was riding really well. Just, you know, sometimes you get the elevator, sometimes you get the shaft, and I got the shaft on that one, and so it kind of fires you up. You want to come back better and stronger, and it's nice because you don't really have too much expectations except for what you put on yourself, and I set the bar high for myself, so it's going to be a busy spring and summer and into the winter. It's pretty much going to be 3 weeks on and then 1 week off, 3 weeks on, all the way through next February.
Oh, good stuff. Enjoy. I guess this is downtime, even though you guys are hang gliding, ATVing. Be safe out there at Hotel Tacoma, and thanks for being with us, guys.
This is a normal downtime for us. You don't do this on your downtime?
I guess this is what extreme sports athletes do in their downtime, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, Louis and Elena, thanks so much. Yeah, go ahead, Louis.
The new football behind you.
What was that?
So we got to get a new football team behind you. I don't want to have that Roll Tide back there next time we talk. We got to get you a Buckeyes banner back there.
You want Ohio State? They got an Ohio State helmet rolling around. We're gonna get that on next time you're in here studio when you visit New York. We'll roll out the Buckeyes gear for you.
Perfect. And make sure you guys check. We're gonna have a bunch of social posts too, and so you guys can have the full FOMO experience of what you're missing out on. But try to live vicariously through us. We're gonna have a great weekend.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, very cool. Elena Height, Louis Vito, thanks so much for being with us, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right, well, many of you will remember Dule Hill from his likable character on the hit show The West Wing. These days, Dule has traded in that likability factor, though, to play the first bad guy of his career in the new film Slight. Our Maggie Gray recently caught up with Hill, who says when he's not on set, you can probably find him at Staples Center rooting on his Lakers.
Dule Hill, Emmy-nominated actor, and you have a new movie now. It's called Slight, a little bit different. You're playing the villain in this one, which we're not really used to seeing you as. That happens April 28th. Before we get into the movie, we have to ask you a little about your Los Angeles Lakers fan, because you're from New Jersey.
I am from New Jersey.
Originally?
Yes, I am.
How'd you catch the Lakers bug? When did you become a fan?
Well, one, I always like to go against the grain. So, of course, everybody in Jersey had to be like, a Knicks fan, maybe a Nets fan, even though, but I'm really more of a Knicks fan, and I would always try to go the opposite direction. But when I was 10 years old, I did a show called The Tap Dance Kid. And the national tour, the first stop was in San Francisco, and that was in September, August, September. I became a 49ers fan. And then the next stop was in October at the beginning of basketball season in Los Angeles. And from there, I became a Lakers fan. So I did jump on the bandwagon back in the 80s. But I've stayed on it ever since. So I don't know if you're really a bandwagon jumper if you stay on the bandwagon.
No, listen, if you're on the bandwagon, if the story seems like it makes sense, which it does, then you are fully in on Lakers fandom and 49ers too.
And I'm a Lakers fan now, even though they're garbage. You see what I'm saying?
Well, what have the last couple of years been like for you Laker fans?
It's been terrible. Besides Kobe's retirement, when he dropped the 60 points, besides that, it's been a very challenging time to be a Lakers fan.
Speaking of Kobe, he's now getting a little bit into your sphere. Really, film production is something that he's really into now. Any advice for the Black Mamba?
Any advice? I would say, he's a winner. He knows how to win, so do your thing, brother. You know what I'm saying? Just do your thing, man. Hire me. That's my advice.
Yeah, well, we know he's got deep pockets. That's obviously
Exactly.
true. He's going to be able to do that. Is there something that an athlete can apply to succeed in your world? In this, it's a little bit
here's
different,
the thing. I do know that Kobe is he's very detail-oriented. He does put in the work. He doesn't just show up on the court and start playing. He does a lot of the homework ahead of time before he gets there. And that's the same thing I think he would need to do in this business, is just do all the homework before you just jump in and put your money into something and say, I'm going to back that movie. Do the due diligence and get there, and I'm sure that he will do that.
Yeah.
I said winners know how to win, so I'm sure that he'll do a great job.
That's such phenomenal advice. Is there something, too, about when athletes, the outcome, they have a winner and a loser. When you're in the creative field, when you're doing the arts, it's really beauty in the eye of the beholder. How do you determine whether or not you've put on a great performance?
I don't know. It's just, again, it is in the eye of the beholder. For me, it's really, as I look at it, do I believe what I did, or am I like, that was false right there? Because a lot of times, too, you will get applause, and you will get people, lauding you for doing great work in something, but then you look at it and you're saying, that doesn't really line up. So it is, again, in the eye of the beholder. I would think, say, for example, with Kobe, in terms of a producer, well, no, you put money in, did you get your money back? If you did not get your money back, you lost, brother.
It's almost like winning and losing. It's dollars and cents.
Exactly.
Right? It all comes down to that. That's really amazing. You're also on Ballers with a lot of athlete cameos. You play Larry Seifert. You play GM of the Miami Dolphins.
Right. Larry Seifert. That's right.
It's a dream job for a lot of people.
I am bigger than my problems.
Well, whose athlete cameo was the most memorable? Which athlete left an impression on you?
For me, still, it's the Zonk. You know what I mean? Larry Zonka, man. The idea
legend.
The idea of being able to spend time and interact with someone who was a part of, the perfect season is, how many times do you get a chance to do that?
No, you absolutely don't.
That for me is still something that I will always remember, being able to meet him and see the ring and take a picture with the ring and all that kind of stuff.
That's cool. So you're still a fan, even though you're a 49ers fan. You could, fan out for the Dolphins.
Oh yeah, I'm a fan of greatness. When you can do things that are on the next level, I'm quick to give you applause.
Playing a villain. In this role, it's a big departure for you. I'm sure you're channeling certain things, but was there something you always wanted to do as playing the villain? When you're playing all these nice guys and introspective guys and other roles, did you ever say to yourself, all right, once I'm the villain, I'm going to do this?
I don't know if there was one thing in particular. I just knew that I would enjoy the process, because we all have different sides of our beings that we access, and it's nice. I've enjoyed playing nice characters and introspective characters, but I knew that once I got a chance to stick my toe into the water of being a villain who really just did not give a damn, that I would have a good time.
When you're reading that on the page, are there certain things where you're like, they're going to make me do this now?
There was some scenes where I said, oh wow, this is what we're about to do, especially the one where I pick up the cleaver. I said, okay, this guy is a loose cannon right here. but I knew that it would be fun. You know, here's the thing, like, especially like being here.
That's one way.
Well, yeah, but being here in New York, things happen all the time where you just feel like going off on somebody. But because you are a sane person and have a very proportional response to things, you will not do what you really flashes in your mind to do. But with Angelo, he's like, hey, it is what it is, brother. You crossed the line, now you got to deal with it. And that's a fun thing to play.
Did you warn friends and family, like, hey, you're going to see another side of me in this film?
I mean, I warned my mother. You know what I mean? I was like, I know you told me not to curse, but there's a lot of F-bombs in this one. You know, it's an urban drama along with a sci-fi superhero element to it. You're seeing the birth of a new superhero in a present time, and I think that people will really enjoy it. Street magic. Street magic, I mean, come on, it's going to be great.
It looks like a lot of fun and a lot of terror at the same time.
It's a perfect balance. It's a perfect balance of both. I mean, the idea of Bo getting in way too deep and having to use his own powers and develop his powers to get out, I think would be very, very engaging for the audience.
Fantastic. It's out April 28th. It's
That's
called
right.
Slight. You're engaged. Congratulations on that as well.
Thank you very much.
A lot
I
of
really
great
appreciate
things.
it.
Great stuff from Maggie and Dulé, and Slight is out in theaters beginning today. And that's going to do it for this Friday edition of SI Now. Be sure to join us on Monday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern, as we recap the remaining 6 rounds of the NFL Draft. Plus, we're going to have the latest on the NBA playoffs. Until then, though, be sure to stick with SI.com, and don't forget to follow us on Twitter at SI Now Live. Have a great weekend.